Navigating cybersecurity is tough, but did you know that most organizations are also struggling with challenges inside their own teams? Almost all organizations say they don't have enough skilled people to handle the security, almost 92%. On top of that, their security centers get flooded with over 1,000 alerts every day. And to keep it up, they rely on around 80 different tools, which can make managing security even more complicated. So, in this particular session, you will gain a complete understanding of the cybersecurity landscape from the basic to real world threats, tools, and best practices. Whether you are just starting out or curious about the future in tech, this journey will help you build a strong foundation for a career in cybersecurity. Let's dive in. My name is Bimal Singh, and let's explore cybersecurity together. Let's start with a simple question. What is cybersecurity? Think about all the thing we do online every day, like chatting with friends, storing photos, doing bank transactions, or even submitting college assignments. All of that involves data, your personal and private information. Now imagine someone trying to steal, damage, or misuse that data or information. That's where cybersecurity comes in. Cybersecurity is like the lock on your front door, but for your digital life. It includes smart tools like antivirus software, good habits like using a strong password, and safe processes like backing up your data. And that work together to keep your system or information and online activity safe from hackers and virus. So, in simple terms, cybersecurity is how we stay safe in the digital world. And as we go more digital every day, understanding cybersecurity becomes just as important as locking our homes or guarding our wallets. So, why cybersecurity matters? Today, almost everything we do, like school, work, shopping, banking, is being done online. And with more people connecting from anywhere, there are more opportunity for cyber criminals to take advantage. These bad actors are not just random hackers anymore. They're using advanced tool and constantly improving how they attack systems. Every year we see more and more cyber attacks, and they are getting harder to detect and stop. And that's why companies and organizations can't just rely on one time fixes. They need to build a strong, flexible, or you can say a program that grow and change with the threats. And this kind of program involves people, process, and technologies. People who are trained and aware, processes that guide how things are done securely, and technology what protects system and data. All of this helps prevent major problems like data leaks, financial loss, and damage to a company reputation. Simply put, in today's world, saying safe online is not a one-time task, it's an ongoing mission. Let's understand the cybersecurity threats. Cybersecurity threats are digital troublemakers. They come in many forms. Some will try to steal your personal information, some wants to lock you and your files for ransom, and other just aim to mess things up. And these threats can come from, you can say, hackers, viruses, fake websites, or even through email links that looks harmless, but they are not. Just like we protect our home from thieves, we need to protect our digital world from these online threats. And that's what makes understanding of cybersecurity and their importance. So even for everyday uses, it is important now to understand cybersecurity and their threats. So let's explore some cybersecurity threat types. Let's explore malware. Malware is sort of malicious software, and if I talk about its broad term, so you can say it's a program designed to harm your computer or network. There are many types of malware like viruses, worms, spyware, and ransomware. Someone can install and try to steal your password, delete your important files, or even lock your system until you pay money. What's scary in that? So you don't always know it's there. Many people install malware without realizing it, just by clicking a suspicious link or downloading a file from a sketchy email. So hackers often use malware to sneak into a company's network, Once they're in, malware can create a backdoor, which means it gives them ongoing access so they can move around, steal more data, and prepare a bigger attack. In short, malware is a digital threat that's sneaky, dangerous, and surprisingly very common. Okay, now let's talk about something sneaky like social engineering. So instead of attacking computers directly, cyber criminals often go after this easiest target, like people. They trick you by pretending to be someone you trust, like a friend or coworker or a big brand like your bank. They might say things like, hey, your account is about to be closed. Click here, and they will have one attached link. That urgency makes you act fast without thinking, and that's the psychology behind it. One of the most common type of social engineering is called phishing. And these are fake emails or you can say messages that look real but contains dangerous links. When you click it, you might ask to log in and there you need to provide username and password, and there it is going to steal your username and password. So some phishing messages go out to thousands of people hoping someone will fall for it, but you have another one which we call it spear phishing, and that target just one person with a very convincing story. For example, someone pretending to be a job applicant and they will send an infected resume to a recruiter. And now nowadays they're using the or taking the help of AI. So the even scammers can make these messages even more convincing, personalized, smarter, and much harder to detect. So always double check before clicking, even if something looks familiar. Now let's talk about one of the most dangerous type of cyber attack today, which is ransomware. Ransomware is like a digital hostage situation. A hacker gets into your system and locks all your files, and you can't open or use them. Then they ask for money, usually in cryptocurrency, to give you the key to get and use your data back. And that's why it is also called cyber extortion. This kind of attack can cause huge problem, lost money, lost data, and even lost trust, especially for companies that rely on customer information. There are two main types of ransomware we have. One is commodity ransomware, and this is, you can say it's automated. It spreads widely, targeting anyone and everyone. It's kind like a spam. But the other one is human operated ransomware. This is much more dangerous. Hacker manually break into system, stay hidden for a weeks, learn how the network works, and then launch the attack to cause maximum damage and demand for money. These attacks are becoming more advanced, so organizations need a strong cybersecurity to stop them before they strike. Now let's talk about identity threats. Identity threats are all about attackers trying to act like someone which they are not. So basically pretending to be you or someone in your organization. Why? Because once they have your identity, they can access private accounts, file, or any system without setting off alarms, and they look like a normal trusted user. So there are a couple of common way they do this. The first one is brute force attack. So this is like trying every possible password combination until one works, and it can be fast and automated, especially if the passwords are weak. And the second one is credential theft. So this usually happens through phishing. An attacker tricks you into giving up your login details and then uses those who logged in. Now they will take their credentials and use their credential to move in your organization. So once they are in, attackers can often move around inside the network, find more valuable data, and do even more, you can say, damages in your network. Now let's talk about business email compromise or BEC. It's a smart and dangerous type of phishing attack. Instead of sending random scam emails, the attacker first compromise or create a fake or you can say real business email addresses to make attack or you can say start communication. And they send email to employee pretending to be that person. For example, they might say, hey, we need to pay or you need to pay this particular invoice amounted maybe XYZ, because it looks like it's coming from the boss, or the people don't question about it, and that's how the attacker gets the money or the data. So BEC is especially dangerous because it's targeted, and that's why it is important to always verify such request through another method like phone call or internal chat before replying or sending anything back. Now, let's talk about a different kind of cyber attack, which is denial of service, or you can say DOS for short. Imagine 100 of people trying to walk through one door at the same time. It gets stuck, right? And nobody can get in. That's what the DOS attack. This DOS attack does and can be executed on a computer system or a website, and it overloads it with the traffic until it crashes or becomes too slow to use. A distributed denial of service attack is given was the D, as I said, in the DDoS stands for distributed. So, meaning the attacker uses multiple devices, sometimes thousands of hacked computers or even smart devices to flood the target all at once. And it's like traffic jam on the internet. And these attacks don't usually steal your data. They are meant to shut down your system, interrupt services, or damage a company's reputation. Now, now let's talk about advanced persistent threat. It's like digital spies, and this attack, you can say attacks are not fast and obvious. They're very slow, sneaky, or you can say very smart. The attacker breaks into the system and stay hidden for a weeks, month, or you can say even years. And they quietly steal your information or data, or even they'll keep preparing to damage the entire system. They are often launched by a nation state, or you can say organized you can cyber criminal groups. Not just one attacker are planning to do such attacks. And they usually go after big targets like governments, defense organization, or large companies. So, what makes APT dangerous is that they combine different types of attacks. They might start with phishing to get in, use malware to stay hidden, and steal credentials to move around. And then they launch ransomware or maybe any other, you can say, attack in your operation. So, a common form of APT, or you can say the example of APT, could be a human operated ransomware, where real people are making an attack, not just these automated tools. Now, let's talk about insider threats. Very dangerous. So, not all cyber threats come from outside hackers. Sometimes the danger comes from inside the organization, and that's what we call insider threats. An insider threat could be any employee or your contractor or anyone who already has access to into your system. And these threats can happen in two main ways, either accidentally or on purpose. Let's take example of accidentally, like someone sends a sensitive documents over an email without encryption or uploads it to the wrong place. So you expose that information. But intention was not to expose. That falls under the accidentally. Now the second one is on purpose, like when you can say one notice serving employee, they decide to steal or leak company data. So their intention is just to hurt the business, and they decided to do some exfiltration of data. That is going to be on purpose. So what makes insider threat so tricky is that these people already have legitimate access, and their action don't always raise red flag. And that's why it is important for companies to not only protect against external attacks, but also to monitor and train employees to prevent mistakes and misuses from the insiders. Let's talk about threat actors. So, to protect against cyber threats, it is important to understand who we are defending against. Not all attackers are the same. They have different goals, skills, and methods. So, knowing your enemies will help you to win the war. Okay, let's explore this nation state hackers. Have you heard about APT-29, which is from Russia, or APT-41 from China? And similarly, we have many other countries. So some of the most dangerous attackers out there are not criminals looking for money or the data. They are nation state actors, which means they are backed by the governments. And these attackers are usually highly skilled, well funded, and work in organized teams. Their goals are not always about money. They might want to spy on other countries or maybe steal secrets or disrupt important systems like power grids or the transportation. They often target other governments, or you can say critical infrastructure like water or electricity system, and major corporation, especially in tech, defense, or finance, because they have access to advanced tools and resources. They can launch very sophisticated attacks. And what's more worrying is that they sometimes sell or shares these tools with smaller hacker groups, making dangerous attacks more widespread. These are the cyber, you can say, attacks that make headlines and affects national security, not just this basic computer system and locking your data file, stealing username and password. Let's talk about ransomware, you can say, actors. And these are not lone hackers in a basement. It's organized cyber criminal groups, and they are well run teams and act like a professional businesses. They usually use ransomware, which means they break into a company's system, steal important data, and then encrypt it so no one can access it. And then they send a message, pay us a huge amount of money, or you will never get your data back kind of messages. And these attacks are not random. They're often multi-stage and carefully planned. And the hackers get into the network, study it very well, then they try to steal the data and then launch your ransomware. So the goal is very simple: make money. And unfortunately, many companies pay the ransom just to get their data and system back quickly. Now, the next actor could be the cyber mercenaries. And it's like digital soldiers, people or organization can hire them. So, unlike hackers who act on their own, this professional work for someone else, whether that's could be a government organization or a company or maybe some criminal gangs. They are hired to do many things like spy on competition or maybe business enemies. They'll disrupt systems or steal sensitive information. Because they work as contractor, they can take on different jobs from different clients. Think of them like freelancers or freelancers in hacking world. They are experts who get paid to carry out cyber attacks, but they don't necessarily have a loyalty on a safe side, or you can say on a one side. Okay, so far we got to know threats and actors. Now let's talk about the frameworks and standards that we can use to protect. So this cybersecurity frameworks like a rule book or roadmap that organization follow to keep their computers, network, or you can say data safe. Let's explore it. Security frameworks we have. The one is NIST cybersecurity framework. It's a very popular framework, and this is created by the US government agency called National Institute of Standard and Technology. It gives the companies clear guidelines on how to find, protect, detect, or you can say respond to. And also it helps you to recover from the cyber threats. Then the other is ISO IEC 27001, which is an international standard, and it helps businesses worldwide to set up a system to keep their important information safe in a consistent and you can say organized way. And finally, we have CIS that controls, and their controls are a list of best practices that is created by the Center of Internet Security. And these are practical steps that companies can take to block or reduce cyber threats. So, by following this framework, organization can better protect their data and respond quickly if something goes wrong. Now, let's talk about tools and technologies that we can use to protect. So, we can say defending against modern cyber threat is not about using just one tool. It is about using many layers of protection. So, let's explore and see. The first thing is endpoint protection. Like every phone, laptop, or tablet in your company is called an endpoint, and each one is a potential, you can say, doorway for the hacker. And that's why we use endpoint protection softwares. It protects these devices from common threats like viruses, ransomware, or phishing attacks. And it works in real time by blocking suspicious activity and stopping malware from spreading. So you might have antivirus software that is a part of endpoint protection because it scans devices for any known malicious program, and if it finds something bad, it removes it. Why does this matter? Because even one infected device can let a hacker into the whole network, and keeping endpoints safe keeps the whole organization safer. Now let's talk about identity and access management solution. Imagine you are entering a secure building and only people with the key cards can open the certain doors. That's what identity and access management does, but only for digital systems. It controls who can access sensitive files, application, or system, making sure that only the right people, like right employees, can access it. So, this identity and access management helps protect against hackers and also stops internal mistakes or misuse by giving each person only the access whatever they need, no more, no less. It usually involves like password, you can have multi-factor authentication, or you can say role-based permissions. So all this makes harder for attacker and safer for the organization. Now let's talk about firewalls and you can say intrusion detection and prevention system. Think of your computer network like a house. A firewall is like a front door, and it decides who can come in and who cannot based on the set of rule, and it's the first layer of protection against your outside threat. But what if someone sneaks past of the front door or is already inside? That's where IDPS comes, intrusion detection and prevention system. So IDPS tool monitor the network and spot anything strange, like someone trying to break in or steal data or attack the system. And the best part is they don't just detect, they can also stop the attack right away. So together, firewall and IDPS work like a digital security team, blocking bad traffic at the door and watching inside for anything suspicious. Now let's talk about cloud security. So cloud security is all about protecting this stuff you store and use on the internet, like files, application, and databases on, you can say, on the platform like Google Cloud, AWS, or Microsoft Azure. Because you're not keeping everything on your own computer, or you can say the server which is hosted in your infrastructure. You need a special tool, or you can say the policy and rules to keep your cloud environment safe. So cloud security makes sure that your data doesn't get leaked, or you can say still or tampered with any outsiders. And it's also important to remember security is shared. So not only cloud provider would be responsible for it, you as a customer also responsible to protect it. So it's shared responsibility. Both are responsible to provide the security. Now let's talk about the collaboration security. So today we all use application like Teams or maybe Zoom or Google Docs or Slack to work and study together online. But with all that sharing, we also need a strong protection. That's where collaboration security comes in. So it's a set of tools and practices that protect your messages, documents, and meeting from hackers, or you can say the leaks. For example, it stops someone from joining a video call uninvited or accessing a file they should not see. So collaboration security helps everyone work together safely and from anywhere, while making sure organizations follow privacy laws and protect sensitive info. In short, I would say it lets people share and collaborate without putting data at risk. Now the next is encryption and data protection too. Think your encryption is like locking your data in a coded safe. Even if someone steals it, they can't read it unless they have the right key. And it's used to protect your info when it is stored on a device and when it is being sent across the internet. For example, when you send a message or make an online payment, encryption keeps your data safe from hackers or any other, you can say, intruders. So, strong encryption is a must have for keeping your personal business or financial information secure. Now, let's talk about security information and event management system. Very important. Imagine a security control room that watches everything happening in your IT environment, like servers, devices, application, and more. And here SIEM comes into the picture. It gathers security data from anywhere and looks for anything unusual or dangerous, like sign of hacking or malware. If something suspicious happens, the SIEM system alerts the security team right away so they can take action before it gets worse. And it's a powerful tool that helps organization spot threats early and react fast, which is super improvement and trying to stop cyber attacks. Now let's talk about XDR, extended detection and response. It's like a supercharged security system and it connects different tools like antivirus, firewalls, or emails protection. And that is also in one smart platform. And that's way, instead of looking at each system separately, XDR gives you a complete picture on what's going on in a single place. It uses AI and automation to spot unusual activity, detect advanced cyber attacks, and even help respond to them quickly. XDR also helps the security team to save the time and work more effectively or efficiently, especially when dealing with the big or complex threats. Now, let's talk about unified SecOps platforms. So, think of a unified SecOps platforms like a toolbox that has everything, or you can say everything a security team needs for protection of organization. So it brings together tools like XDR to detect threats across the system, SIM like collect and analyze security data, even the SOAR to automate how the team responds, and the posture tools to make sure the system are properly set up and not vulnerable. And now we are seeing generative AI, which is being added to help team work even faster and smarter, like writing responses, analyzing threats, and summarizing alerts. So this kind of platform helps security team to stay, you can say, ahead of cyber attacks and respond quickly, all from one place. Now let's talk about best practices. So good cybersecurity is not just about having the latest tech in your organization. It's basically a team effort and mix of smart habits. And best practices is all about the habits. So let's explore. The first one is zero trust. So when I say zero trust, it means never trusting anyone automatically, whether they are inside or outside the network. Before allowing access to important file or system, it always check and rechecks who the user or device really is. And this way, even if someone is inside the network, they can't freely access everything without permission. Zero Trust helps you to keep your sensitive data safer by making sure every access request is verified and every time. Now, the one important point about Zero Trust is what? It's not the single person responsibility, it's the responsibility of every person in your organization. So, as I mentioned, everyone in the organization needs to be on the same page from top leader to new employees. When everyone understands the rule and follows the policy, it reduces the chances of accidents or people misusing their access. So, cybersecurity is not just an IT job, it's a team effort that requires everyone to be careful and responsible to help keep the organization data safe from both outside or you can say inside attackers. Now, let's talk about the security policies. If I have to define, I would say a security policy is like a rule book for keeping an organization's information safe, and it tells everyone what is allowed and what is not when using computers and data. It also explains what to do if something goes wrong, like a cyber attack or data leak. Plus, it provides instructions on how to handle sensitive information properly to avoid risks. So, the another best practice is what? Keep your infrastructure updated. So, keeping your software and system updated is really important because updates often fix weaknesses that hackers could use to break in. So, using a strong password and changing them often makes it harder for attackers to guess or steal your login credential. Backing up your data regularly means you won't lose everything if there is an attack or you can say a technical problem. Now, let's talk about employee. So, employees are often the first to notice something suspicious like a phishing email or a scam call. And that's why regular training is important to help everyone recognize tricks of attackers that they use, such as fake messages or social engineering. So, when people know what to look and what we can use, so they are less likely to fall victim of a cyber attacks. So every employee is an important part of the organization's cybersecurity defense. Now let's talk about auditing. So security audits are like regular health checkups, but for organization cybersecurity. They help to find weak area where attackers might get in. By doing audits regularly, the organization can fix problems before they become serious. And this way, the defenses stay strong and ready against the new and changing cyber threats. Now, let's talk about incident response plan. So, an incident response plan is like a playbook for what to do if a cyber attack happens. So, it helps the organization act fast to reduce the damage and keep things running. So, having a plan means the team knows their roles and a step to fix the problem quickly. And this way, normal operations can be restored as soon as possible, and also it will minimize the harm. Now, emerging trends means what will be the future of cybersecurity. Okay, so let's talk about AI and machine learning. This artificial intelligence and machine learning are changing how we protect our systems now. They help spot cyber threats as they happen and can even automate some, you can say, responses to attacks. So teams can react faster, and this AI also predicts how attackers might try to exploit weaknesses. This generative AI takes this further by simulating attack scenarios and analyzing huge amount of data to find hidden patterns. And that helps security teams stay prepared and one step ahead of hackers in a world where threats keep changing. Now, let's talk about securing the cloud. So, Many businesses now store their data and run services in the cloud instead of the local computers. And this creates a new challenge because cloud environments spread data across many locations. So, to protect those data which is kept on a cloud, we have to consider their securities. So, we can use like multi factor authentication that helps or requires extra proof of login, encryption, right? And access control to, you can say, that will help to make sure only the right people can see your information. Doesn't matter, sensitive or normal, depends. Now, the next one is supply chain attacks. So this supply chain attacks happens when hackers go, you can say, after a company's partners and like suppliers or the service providers. So even if a company own systems are secure, these attacks can cause problems through the trusted vendors. And that's why organizations need to carefully check and monitor their suppliers' security. And by doing this, they protect not just themselves, but the entire supply chain from cyber threats. Let's talk about cybercrime is growing. So cybercrime is increasing rapidly. For example, in just the second half of 2024, Microsoft stopped over 1 million DDoS attack, which is four times more than the previous year. And this shows that cyber criminals are getting smarter and more focused in how they attack. So the experts believe that trend will continue with cyber attacks becoming more advanced and harder to detect. And that's why learning about cybersecurity is so important for everyone. Staying ahead of threat is very important. So we can use extended detection or the response, and XDR basically is a security tool which we just talked about, which helps an organization to find and stop cyber threats more quickly and you can say efficiently. So this is going to be one emerging trend, and it's not just tool. We must have to work with the ongoing training for employees, and investment in new technology like AI are also important in this. Now, what would be the solution? The solution for cyber security. So, as cyber threats evolve and become more advanced, cybersecurity solutions are also improving. So, AI technology plays a big role by helping organizations to detect and stop threats faster. So, you know that Microsoft has this AI powered SecOps platform that combines different security tools into one system to better prevent, detect, and respond to attacks. And this integrated approach helps businesses keep their operation running smoothly and stay strong against sophisticated cyber attacks. You must heard about this Copilot for security, right? That seriously reduce a lot of you can say cybersecurity team efforts, and they can focus on a different instead of the common things.